What's up, you guys? Teddy Striker here, and this Saturday is UFC 320, and we're going to talk about how Cory Sandhagen can beat Merab Dvalishvili. He's a big underdog. Obviously, he should be. Merab is a Terminator. He's gone through the division. He's beating some of these guys twice, and he's going to continue to do that if he gets past Cory Sandhagen. But how can Cory Sandhagen beat him? And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to build a game plan for Cory Sandhagen to beat Merab. And at the press conference, I felt like it was a little bit interesting because I think we got to see the real Merab.
Nobody give me any problems, even in striking. You know, I fought Peter Yan, I fought Josie Aldo, I fought Sean O'Malley 2 times. Nobody can do. So I'm the GOAT, I'm the champion, and I will prove it again.
I found that interesting because Merab is usually a type of guy to respect his opponents. He doesn't say too much trash talk, and you don't really know what he's really thinking. But now we got to see a glimpse of that, and that was very interesting in my opinion. But with all that being said, let's get right into how I think Cory Sandhagen beats Merab. And the first key to victory I have for him is...
One now.
Please stop. I can't let you get close.
Can you hear my...
For Cory Sandhagen to avoid the same fate as Henry Cejudo, Umar Nurmagomedov, Peter Yan, and Sugar Sean O'Malley, I think he has to keep the fight in the center of the octagon. I felt like Sean O'Malley had his best round against Merab in round 5 of the first fight. He won that round. He did really well, and he actually hurt Merab. And I thought that's how Umar Nurmagomedov was winning the first 2 rounds against Merab. And this is also how Henry Cejudo was able to hurt Merab really bad and ultimately win the first round against him, and how Marlon Moraes almost knocked him out. You gotta stand your ground. This guy wants to get you to the cage, so his takedowns come a lot easier, and he can just continue that cycle of taking you down, making you work, taking you down, making you work. So to prevent that, Cory Sandhagen is gonna have to stand his ground and let his offense go. But moving on to the next key to victory, and that's gonna be... So now that we've established that Cory Sandhagen needs to stand his ground, how does he actually keep his ground? And he does that by countering Merab as he comes in and closes that distance, and you punish him for ever trying to get close to you. So let's take a look at some examples. Here, Merab tries to close the distance to attack Umar with something here, but Umar notices that and he's about to punish Merab with a 1-2. It doesn't land, but he's still threatening him with it. And notice where Umar is. He's completely in the middle of the cage. So he's gatekeeping his house and he's protecting his house, and he's not letting Merab get in. And here Merab resets and he's going to try to close the distance again, but Umar tells him again, hey, get out of my house, you're not welcome here. He blasts him for a kick, and then he hits a jab on him, and then he forces Merab to reset again. Here again, Merab tries to break in Umar's house, but Umar is not going to let him have it, and he's going to punish him, and he's going to tell him, if you try this one more time, I'm going to blast you with my shotgun. And he does that by landing a clean 1-2 right on Merab's mouth, and this forces a reset again for Merab. And then here against Henry Cejudo, Merab tries the same thing. He keeps on trying to break into people's houses without really knocking or checking if anyone's home, and he gets blasted again. He gets hurt really bad. He's on shaky legs. And I think that Cory Sandhagen can apply this in his strategy, and I think being the longer fighter is going to help him out, having the longer reach, keep the shorter man on the outside, and make him really work to come in and close the distance. Moving on to Cory Sandhagen's next key to victory, which is going to be... So pretty much this key to victory comes down to the fact that Merab has had several injuries related to his leg. He had a nasty shin injury heading into the Umar Nurmagomedov fight, and that was in January, and he still fought. He fooled the commission by showing the guy the same leg twice, and I don't know how that got his job. But then Merab had a toe injury going into the Sean O'Malley fight, and his response to that was saying that, I don't care if I have 1 injured toe, I have 9 other toes, which was kind of cool. And then he still went out there and he dominated and finished Sean O'Malley. But I feel like these injuries are picking up for Merab, and eventually it's going to catch up to him. And to speed out that process, why not attack your opponent where he's weak? I know Cory Sandhagen read The Art of War. I know he loves that book. And in that book, I'm pretty sure it talks about attacking your enemy where they're weakest at. And go for his leg. It's right there. He's still not fully healed. So blast those leg kicks. So, as we mentioned, Cory needs to stand his ground to win this fight, and that's the most important key to victory because it's going to make the takedown defense come a lot easier. It's going to be a lot easier to defend the takedowns of Merab if you have space behind you, and if Merab is the one closer to the fence, it's going to make the takedowns a lot easier to see because you're going to see Merab, like, he's going to have to close that distance first of all, and he's going to be shooting from, he usually shoots from pretty far out, but he's able to get some sort of grip on his opponents and drive them to the fence or complete his takedown. But it's going to be easier to sprawl the takedowns. And if not, like, if he beats you to the hip, you can just roll over. You'll still have space and you can, like, try to, like, reverse him. But if you do find yourself getting close to the fence, use the fence to help you as well. Use the fence as a sort of barrier to keep you standing up. That, like, it can be a problem for you, but it can also aid you in defending takedowns. And don't use your grappling to try to submit Merab or stay on the ground too long for Merab. I feel like Cory has gone better grappling offensively as well, and he might try to show that, but I don't think it's worth it. I think you're just going to be wasting energy trying to out-grapple a superior grappler. So just focus on keeping the fight on the feet. But moving on to the next key trick I have for Cory Sandhagen, and that's going to be... So now that Cory Sandhagen is going to be standing his ground, now that he's going to be attacking the leg kicks, now that he's going to be defending the grappling attempts from Merab, we need to shut him down and shut his lights off on the feet. And one of the most effective ways to do that, in my opinion, is to throw that 1-2. Because Merab, like, whenever he gets anything thrown at him, his main reaction is to throw his, like, extend his lead hand and move away from his opponent. So he kind of has a long guard. But the thing is, he's shorter than a lot of his opponents. But it's like it works because his opponents don't really throw shots, like multiple shots together. Like when they do, they land on him. But most of the time they throw one shot at him and he's able to avoid it. But if you really focus on throwing that 1-2 and blasting him with it, I think you're going to have a lot of success and you're going to tag him a lot. And yes, he might have a chin, but if you get hit and you get hit and you get hit over and over and over, you're eventually going to go down. But if that doesn't crack Merab's head, so we know that Merab drops his hand, his lead hand, whenever he gets attacked with any sort of punch. And you know who else did this? Another guy who's 5'6", who's going to fight someone who's 5'11", Alexander Volkanovski. When Alex Volkanovski took on Max Holloway, they're both in the same stance, just like Cory Sandhagen and Merab. He kept, like, you know, reacting to Max Holloway's feints and dropping his lead hand. And eventually, in the second round or the first round, he got dropped with a head kick that clipped him right, like, at the top of the head. Umar Nurmagomedov couldn't catch him with this because he was a little bit like of a similar frame to Merab, and his right kick was his lead kick, so it wasn't quite the same opening. But Cory Sandhagen, being much taller than a guy like Umar Nurmagomedov, I think he should be able to blast Merab on top of the head. And look at this screenshot from Volkanovski getting dropped and how Merab defends right head kick. To me, that screams kick me in the head already. And I think Cory Sandhagen, if he really, really wants to get Merab out of there, and if he wants to become the bantamweight champion, he's gonna have to blast him in the head with some head kicks. Now, the reason why I'm saying Cory Sandhagen needs lateral movement to beat Merab is because when he does inevitably find himself with his back towards the octagon, he's gonna need to move away from Merab. He can't just go back and exit or try to escape Merab by just moving backwards in a straight line. He's got to take some angles and break Merab's forward pressure. So here, Merab is about to attack Umar with a big overhand right. Umar sees it coming, he defends it, he hits him with a counter shot, and then look at him here, he starts to angle back out towards the center of the cage, and he reclaims the center of the cage, where he is going to have a much better chance of beating Merab. So Cory Sandhagen, this is what I mean by using lateral movement to avoid Merab's pressure and to get back to the center of the cage where you'll be most effective. So we all know that Merab is a machine, but he is human after all, and he does have some soft spots. And I think that Sean O'Malley exposed that in the 5th round of their first fight. He does have some weakness to the body. He did get hurt really bad with a clean front kick to the front of the stomach. And I think that if Cory Sandhagen starts looking for those organs with his punches and with his front kicks to the body, maybe even just regular kicks to the body, I think he can definitely hurt Merab. I think he's got to use those kicks, and also it's going to help him control that octagon and really stand his ground, make him push you back, because you got to respect the kicks. The kicks are a lot more powerful than the punches, and also you're going to be throwing those head kicks out there, so now Merab is not going to know what's going to be hitting him. So use those kicks, really dig into that body, and then use those snap kicks to the head as well that we talked about earlier, and it's just going to make your kicking game a lot harder for Merab to deal with, and who knows, you might find that liver. But moving on to the last key to victory I have for Cory Sandhagen to beat Merab, and that's going to be So of course, we all know that Cory Sandhagen has some beautiful flying knees in his arsenal, and beautiful knees. And as we mentioned, Merab is 5'6", Cory Sandhagen is 5'11". I think Cory Sandhagen should have no problem flying kneeing Merab in the face, but it's going to be about timing, which is why I said it should be reactive knees. And whenever Merab enters in and he gets too close, blast him with a knee to the face. We talked about countering the entries. You can add another layer by also using your knees to catch him coming in. So if you're able to hurt Merab with a body shot, his first instinct is going to be to shoot a takedown, and that's when you take his head off with that knee, set it up. Maybe you hurt him with a snap head kick, maybe you hurt him with a 1-2, maybe you hurt him with a leg kick. Then you know his first instinct is going to be to shoot a takedown, and that's when you take his head to the moon. But that will do it for my keys to victory on how Cory Sandhagen can beat Merab. I was supposed to drop this video a lot sooner this week, but I wasn't able to. Hopefully you guys can still get to see this before the fights. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Cory Sandhagen has a shot to beat Merab? I already made my prediction. I think that Merab will win, but I won't be surprised if Cory Sandhagen pulls it off. If you haven't yet, make sure you check out my video on how Alex Pereira beats Magmatic Live. Make sure you check out my prediction video that came out as well recently, and I'll see you guys on Saturday after the fights. Thank you guys for watching. God bless, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.